Were you asked as a child what you want to do when you grow up? What you want to be when you grow up? You may not have been able to answer the question then as a child, what you want to do when you grow up, what you want to be when you become an adult. And now, some 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, you still don't know how to answer that question. You still don't know what you want to do. Even as an adult, you didn't know. And for some of you, you may have been able to answer it then. As a child, you thought you knew what you want to do. But now, as an adult, that answer has changed. And now you're just confused and you don't know what you want to do. And that's okay. You are not alone. There are so many people that do not know what it is that they want to do. As far as when it comes to a career, I'm talking about as far as being sure about your career goals, being sure about what it is that you want to do. But that's okay if you're at that place where you just don't know. Because a lot of times we're trying to navigate a career and we don't even know who we are as a person. We have not self-assessed ourselves. So how can we know what it is that we want to do as far as a career goal when we don't even know ourselves as a person? So I want to briefly and quickly talk about how to create a career plan. How to create a career plan. And creating a career plan has 5 components to it. So when you're creating your career plan, the first thing you want to do is when you start is to do a self-assessment. A lot of times we get into careers, we go to school, we graduate, we go to college, and we think this is what we want to do for the rest of our life, forever. And I know back in the day, a lot of times people would stay on the job for a long time, for years, even retire. But now in the 21st century, we don't see that. People are going to school, people are graduating college, getting degrees, and not even doing the job, doing the work that they have got a degree in, that they got certification in. So it's okay if you haven't figured out what it is that you want to do. Because a lot of times we haven't really figured out what it is that we want to do because we have not did any self-assessment. We have to do some self-assessments, some self-reflections. And so that's when we do these self-assessments on ourselves. We discover what our values are. We discover what our interests are. We discover what it is that makes us who we are. Like, what are you interested in? What are your values? What's important to you? Like, you're not going to want to do a job that you're really not interested in. You're not going to want to do a job and stay on a job that doesn't give you any satisfaction, that doesn't give you a sense of fulfillment and purpose. So we have to come to a place where we learn who we are as a person before we can even try to decide on a career, something that we potentially may do for the rest of our lives. But we know now in the 21st century, that's not happening. People are staying on their jobs, for an average of 3 to 4 years now. And after that, that's it. They're changing jobs every 3 to 4 years. So, but I believe the reason with that is because we are jumping from job to job, from career to career, switching careers, because we really haven't figured out who we are, what's important to us, what are our values. So that's when we do a self-assessment. We assess who we are, what it is that's important to us. And so the second component of creating a career plan is career exploration. After we do those self-assessments, figure out what it is that we're interested in, what it is that, just makes us feel alive in our work. Then we explore careers. So when we do that career exploration, based on what you are interested in, based on what your values are, then you can discover those careers that line up with your interests, that line up with your values, that line up with, what makes you feel alive. So we're going to do the self-assessment, then we're going to do career exploration. Then after career exploration, we're going to do career identification. We're going to identify those careers that line up with who we are, that makes us feel alive, that gives us a sense of fulfillment and purpose. So we're going to explore those careers, and we're going to, by process of elimination, eliminate those careers that we know that we're not interested in. You know that you don't want to do construction. You know that you don't want to work outside in the heat building houses, and you don't want to do that. You know that you don't like to work with numbers. So accounting is out for you. That's what you don't want to do. So when we explore those careers with career exploration, by process of elimination, we eliminate those careers that we know that we're not interested in. So when you do the self-assessments, it's gonna help you to discover all types of careers that may line up with your values and what you may be interested in. But at the same time, some of those jobs that you may discover are jobs that you just know without a shadow of a doubt that you don't want to do that. So you eliminate those careers, and those careers that you may possibly want to do, then you keep those on the table. And that's when you go into the process of career identification, and you identify those careers that you may want to do, that are potential, good careers for you. And you have to take into consideration your experience level. You have to take into consideration your skill level. You have to take into consideration your educational level. Like some of these careers that you're exploring based on your interests, you still may not be qualified for those jobs. So even though you identify these careers, you have to make sure that you have everything that you need to be qualified for these careers. So if say that based on your interests, when you do your self-assessment, that one of the jobs that comes up is a doctor or a lawyer or a computer technician, but you don't have those qualifications to be a doctor or a lawyer. You hadn't went to law school. You haven't went to medical school. You don't have any certifications in computer. You don't really know computer. So you have to take into consideration your skill level as well. So if you know that you do not have the qualifications, you have to eliminate those careers until you get those qualifications. I'm not saying that you can't eventually get the qualifications and the skills you need to get those careers, but if you know you don't have it right now, we need to eliminate that, and we need to go with the careers that we know we are qualified for. So after we identify those careers, we do the career identification, then we go to creating and developing our SMART goals, our smarter goals anyway. And when we create our SMART goals, and what SMART means, we want to make sure that our goals are, first of all, specific. You don't want to just say, I have a goal to go to school, graduate, get my degree, and start a job in accounting. You need to be specific. Okay, it's sort of specific, but you want to know exactly how you're gonna navigate this goal. Exactly what school you're gonna go to, when you plan to graduate, the steps you need to take to graduate, the steps you need to take to apply for an accounting job. So you need to be very specific about your goals. And then you want to make sure that your goals are measurable. Like, can you measure this goal? Like the steps that you're taking to achieve this goal, can you measure it? Can you measure from beginning to end the steps you're gonna take to achieve it, which is your objectives? So what are you gonna do to measure how you achieve this goal? And then we're going to make sure our goals are achievable. Sometimes we set goals that we know, and we're not going to say you can't ever achieve them. Sometimes we set goals we know we can't achieve right now. So we want to make sure those goals that we are setting are achievable for us. And we're not just coming up with some pie in the sky goals that we know that we can achieve right now. Not saying you can't ever achieve them, but we want to make sure that we can achieve those goals. And then we want to make sure that they are realistic. Realistic kind of goes hand in hand with achievable. We want to make sure those goals are realistic. We're not just coming up with something that can't be achieved and that's not realistic for you. Like I gave an example with the doctor. Like if you didn't start planning for medical school and to be a doctor straight out of high school, like you in your 40s, 50s, not saying it's too late, but because I like to say that it's never too late, but you should have started with medical school and getting ready to be a doctor earlier, because it's a lot to be a doctor. You have to get certain licenses, and it's just a lot of education that goes along and training that goes along with becoming a medical doctor. So when you developing your smarter goals, you want to make sure that they are achievable and they are realistic. So where we at now, and then you want to make sure that they are timely. Your goals are timely, that you achieving those goals in a timely fashion. You want to document when you starting this goal. Okay, say I'm going to start this goal today. I'm going to start working on this goal tomorrow, and I'm going to finish this goal. If you do your goals quarterly, I do my goal planning in quarters. So say we're in July now, you start in July and you're going to finish at the end of September. So your goals, you're going to date it, say at the start of July, and you have a plan to finish it at the end of September. And so then you may not have heard of the other two letters in the SMART goal, because we know SMART for SMART goals, but now we have added two letters to it, and so we're gonna consider it the smarter goal. So after we finish with that T, with the being timely, we're gonna go to E, which is evaluate your goal. Because a lot of times once we get down to it, we're like, I can't complete this goal. I can't go through with it. I just don't have what it takes. But that's okay, because you just may need to just go back, revisit it, and evaluate it. But that don't mean you give up on the goal. That don't mean you throw the goal away. You just evaluate the goal and you come back to it. And we have the R in smarter goals, and that is to readjust. You may have to readjust your goal. Same with evaluating it. When you evaluate it and you see that you need to make some changes to it, you may see that it's not really going as planned, but that's okay. That don't mean you throw away the goal. That just means you have to readjust it. Like your timeline may have been from July to September. You just may have to extend it to December. You may need an additional 3 months to complete your goal, but don't get discouraged. Don't just give up on your goal because you didn't meet it in the time frame that you planned to originally meet it. It's okay. That is okay. Don't give up. Don't throw it away. So you want to evaluate it and readjust it. So let's go over our smarter goals again. First, you want to make sure that goal is specific. Then you want to make sure that goal is measurable. And you want to make sure the goal is achievable. You want to make sure the goal is relevant. And I think earlier for the R, I think I may have said realistic rather than relevant. But relevancy, you just want to make sure that the goal is, why is this goal significant to me? Why is this goal important? So why am I even pursuing this goal? So you want to make sure it's relevant. Because I think I said realistic. the first time. But realistic and achievable kind of go hand in hand. And you want to make sure your goal is timely. You want to make sure you can get it done in a timely fashion. You want to specifically put that time frame on it. Like, this is when I'm going to start it. This is when I'm going to end it. Then you want to evaluate it. And then you want to readjust if you have to. If you have to readjust the goal, don't be afraid to readjust your goal. So we have our smarter goals. And the final part of creating a career plan is to take action. Is to take action on the plan. So once you do that self-assessment, once you do the career exploration, the career identification, once you develop your smarter goals, then you want to develop an action plan or execute your plan. You want to take action. So that's how we create a career plan. You take action. You start applying for those jobs. You start getting your resume created. You start networking with people to try to get these interviews, do these informational interviews with people. You can do some job shadowing to learn about the positions that you may be interested in, but you have to make a move on your career plan. You can't just create a plan and don't take action. I believe taking action is the most important part, especially along with creating those goals. You have to have a goal. You have to have a roadmap to follow when you are creating your career plan. So you begin to develop an action plan. Start going on those interviews, applying for jobs, making sure your resume is on point, doing those informational interviews, networking with people, creating you a LinkedIn profile that is your 24-hour live digital resume. You want to make sure you're on LinkedIn so those hiring managers and recruiters can see that you do have a social media, online presence anyway, or online presence. Make sure that all your online presence, your social media platforms, everything is professional. You want to make sure you have a professional email address. You want to make sure that that resume is tailored to that job that you're applying for. So you want to do all that. You want to prepare for your interview, know those commonly asked questions in the interview, the job interview. So when we develop our action plan, that's what we start doing. And so that's how you create a career plan. So my name is Cynthia Young with Source Solutions Career Coaching. If you need some one-on-one career coaching, if you may need your resume reviewed or rewritten, you can contact me. You can go to my website at allthingscynthiayoung.com.